I'm gonna bring that up.
I just want to bring up the voice actor.
Yeah, it's how is Tatooine on here?
Oh, you're killing the
That's latest. It's not as cool as Hoth.
Funny joke. No. Let's talk about that.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of The List. This is list number 6. I'm your host, Daniel French. We have the core crew with us today. Rod Diaz.
Yo.
Mackenzie Jensen.
What's up?
Dean Garcia.
Hey, hey.
Sammy Winnie.
What's up?
The List is a conversational improv game. Each of our panel members has a list of topics and or phrases that were drawn from a hat. Their goal is to sneak those topics or phrases into the conversation. Another member of the panel, hearing thus, can say, "That's on your list." And if they're right, they get a point. You can bluff, or if they're wrong, you get a point. To become part of the List community, go to patreon.com/list. To contact any of us with your comments or questions, email listgame@cox.net, C-O-X. Today's question for the list is, you have been hired on the writing team for an upcoming Star Wars movie. Your job is to come up with new, well-thought-out and detailed species and characters to be added to the Star Wars universe. What do you got for me?
All right, guys. So, let me just unfold my paper here. I did this yesterday.
She did her research.
Oh, the day
Oh,
before.
let's hear it, Mackenzie.
Okay,
you
so
got?
my creature is called the Tentaran. Or I can't decide if
Very Star
Hold on.
Wars.
I know, right? I can't decide if I want it to be the Tentaran or Tentaran.
Tentaran. Go with Tentaran.
Tentaran. Okay, which is, I'll explain later why it's Tentaran. Their skin color is typically like a blood orangish, like some kind of like dark orange. And then when they get old, it turns red. Although the rich dye their skin to show their wealth. So obviously, you know, the colors that are harder to get from orange are like the more expensive. Like I imagine blue would be like someone who's super wealthy because like how hard would that be? Their home world is I can't decide how I wanted to pronounce that. Hold on. Artosin. Is Artosin. Artosin. So this creature started out, the history is that they were extremely fast and they could mimic certain features of species. Like not the exact face, but like very similar, you know? So where like if someone didn't know you very well, you wouldn't be able to tell, but like someone who knew you very well
Kind of
would
like
be able to.
a chameleon kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
like it's fair. It's pretty freaking close, but it's not identical.
So if they ran into like a corn or something, they would be able to like mimic the squid face they have and the gills and stuff.
Exactly.
So
That's-
that's kind of like a changeling.
Kind of.
Which one
What's
Yeah.
that one again? Is that the one?
The one with the squid face and the tentacles are right here and they got the two teeth like right there, like in the front of their face, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they could totally have like tentacle nostrils and be like,
Yeah, I was thinking of those guys who have like an L-shaped head and like two eyes and like.
I actually don't
See, they
know
could
what those
mimic
are
that
called.
too.
Those are called Ithorians.
Ithorians.
Yeah.
They could mimic that too. They were extremely fast and they were, you know, very good warriors and everything. But they decided that they wanted to make themselves better.
Could
So
they mimic Mon Calamari?
they can mimic anything,
Anything. Wow.
but only mimic,
trap.
not be exact,
Can
you
they
know?
mimic a rock?
Sure. I don't give a... No, it has to be living. It has to be living. Has to be living, like an animal,
All
not
right.
not a plant either, because I feel like that's kind of weird.
Okay.
Anyway, but so they used to be very good warriors, and they decided that they wanted to be better. So they started using robotic parts.
Nice.
And now they've adapted so much to using those that a bunch of, to the point where they can't function without the parts. So like a lot of them are born like without legs or organs or eyes or something like that. So they have to have the robotic pieces, which has ended up declining their warrior abilities. But so
Kinda
the
sounds like General Grievous right now.
but so Tentaran, the name, so Latin for change is mutantur, and so I just rearranged the letters
Oh,
there.
look at that.
And then for the home world, the eroticin, So I used Latin for orange, Albanian for orange, and Uzbek for orange, and I just mixed them all up, and I got that.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, that's my creature.
I dig it.
My question is, so during the Clone Wars, do you think they would be part of the Republic or the Separatists?
Honestly, I don't think they'd pick a side.
So they'd be neutral.
I feel like they'd be neutral, and I feel like they're definitely an archaic, creature, and so they kind of stay out of all the politics. They don't give a shit about that. They have their planet, especially because now they're not as good at fighting as they once were. So I think they're kind of ashamed
Right.
of that. So they stay on their
I thought with the
planet.
droid parts, they would be all separatists. Like,
Yeah.
hey, look, my droid brothers. Hey, what's up?
No, I think they're neutral. I feel like they're very.
Like just minding their own business.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. They're like, hey,
hey,
just
if you don't bother us, we
leave
won't
us out
bother
of it.
you.
Exactly.
I gave you guys too much time to prepare.
You give her too much time.
I was really excited about this one. I feel like I feel like they fit into the Star Wars universe. Personally.
Well, for me, I was really on the fence because there are a lot of species. We got the land-based species, which are humans, Wookiees, Ewoks, what have you. The aquatic-based, the Gungans, the Quarrens, the Mon Calamari.
Yeah.
And then we got even snow and swamp species
Sure.
like the totes.
Yeah.
The totes and the huts, which
Yeah.
are actually a swamp species, which people mistake for a desert species
Right.
because Jabba the Hutt.
Right.
But they come from Now Hutta, which is a swamp planet.
Right.
But
And they're basically big slugs.
yeah, they're giant slugs, so it's like I'm pretty sure someone moisturizes Jabba
Right.
the Hutt every once in a while.
Moisturize me.
Yes. Yes.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, she gets me.
So and there were surprisingly very little flying creatures in the Star Wars universe besides insect-based creatures.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like a bird based, kind of like the like Hawk Girl from the DC universe. I forgot what her race is called. It starts with a T. Doesn't matter.
Chicken
Not
boo.
important. Irrelevant.
So I was thinking of like this big but more bird, like beak and all, and aviators are something along the lines for their name, like aviatans. Aviatans.
There you go.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Vulturons.
And I was thinking they would live on God, what's the name of that planet? Give me a
the
second.
Kookaburrans.
You didn't
Laugh,
even come up with your own
kookaburns.
planet.
No, because I thought
You didn't even
no,
come
wait,
up
I
what's
thought
with your
Bespin,
own planet.
Bespin, where Cloud City is,
Oh,
was already
yeah,
the perfect
yeah.
planet for them.
Yeah.
It's already like a planet where you have to stay in the sky
Yeah.
and they fly around. And I was thinking that there are more than just Cloud City. There are other cities like that around Bespin that they go to, and it's kind of like their civilization.
Oh, Dean, I just thought of something. Considering that Cloud City is kind of like the main thing for Bespin, like kind of the thing that is kind of foremost in the Star Wars
Right.
universe, maybe you could kind of weave their origins into kind of like the mythos. What if they started out as the natives to that planet, and then
no,
kind of
yeah.
they got forced out by this resource operation for to ban a gas, like the platforms.
No, yeah, I have that. They were very tribal species before the Clone Wars, and then the Republic came in and kind of made them into this kind of this species that kind of works for them.
Yeah.
They
Enslave them.
build and stuff, so they're underground in Cloud City. That's why we don't see them
The doozers.
at all. So they work in construction and maintenance and plumbing and all that, and they fly
Plumbing.
back and forth to do this job because you can't waste fuel
Sure.
on going to the multiple cities that I've
Right.
made up in Bespin.
Sure.
So yeah, that's basically my idea. I wanted to do something different because we hardly ever see any species that's mainly flying throughout the whole series
Right.
of Star Wars, and yeah, we see there are surprisingly a lot of underwater species.
Yes.
I thought they really went crazy with that.
There's a lot of wet planets.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not even talk about Manan from Knights of the Old Republic. They got giant sharks, they got fish people, they got all kinds of stuff.
Carden, right?
Yeah.
That's the giant
Oh,
shark
yeah, yeah.
species.
wanna be a giant
Let's
They're
just
Faraxon sharks. There we go.
It's true. There are a lot of. There's even creatures that fly in space.
Oh yeah, which ones?
Yeah.
Can your creature fly in space?
No, they're
They have
lungs.
can your creature fly around in space where there's no air? Pleb.
My Tentaran can certainly go into space because they have robotic parts. So, yeah.
Nice.
So cyborg spaceship people.
My Tentaran is
much.
way cooler than your, what was it? Aviaton?
aviatans.
I think they were both pretty
Aviatans.
cool. I thought they were excellent ideas, both of them.
All right, let's hear it. What's yours?
Oh, wait, it's okay if I go next?
Yes.
Because I'm kind of like developing a lot of my thoughts as I go along because I haven't put like on some of like specifics like the names and stuff. Mackenzie, you went way
Yeah,
into,
told
like
you
the
guys.
I was surprised.
I told
like
you guys.
went into languages and stuff like that. I partially because of time and partially because I have a bit of a different thought process, but I kind of went like a different way in terms of my thinking. Whenever I think of some of the species from Star Wars, I kind of think of a number of things. First of all, first and foremost, they're usually a product of their environment. Like the Sand People, the Wampas, the Hutts. The idea is that they're all kind of specific to the planets they originate from, but also kind of have a place in this overall universe, considering that they can go from any planet to whatever. And usually it kind of plays into the second thing in getting to their character. Like Jabba the Hutt and all the Hutts really are like a very skeezy, kind of like slimy species. So naturally they're really scummy. They're like cheaters. They're kind of like mob bosses. Their design kind of plays into that.
Not all of them. I mean, there's that
lot of
one
them.
hut that's a Jedi.
There's a Hutt Jedi. That's hilarious.
Is there really?
There
Yeah.
is
I did
actually a
not know
hut
that,
Jedi.
actually.
Yeah.
This giant banana slug of a Jedi going
Yeah.
around.
But I
How
think,
does he
Giant
fight?
slug
I don't
like
know. He
slipping
just-
around.
Surprisingly agile or
But
something?
he's agile for a hut. He's very thin.
but
He just like flips around with like his tail going everywhere, and he's like,
I think he went dark.
Did he go dark?
He went dark and ended
got
up
the
get
Force
fighting
Wow.
Luke afterwards.
Wow.
That's very
Played
disappointing.
into the
But this is
stereotype.
all-
Yeah,
scummy.
right.
Yeah,
Way
but
to
this
play
is
into
but
it.
that's non-canon.
okay,
Oh, is it non-canon? Fuck, that's
oh,
right.
that's a shame.
Shoot.
Well, my point being that, well, thus far, that when it comes to like any species, when it comes to Star Wars, and this kind of goes into my third thing, is that they usually play into some kind of like a character-based archetype that usually goes into like the films and stuff that it was originally based on. Because when George Lucas was coming up with the Star Wars universe, he was considering samurai films, he was considering westerns, he was talking about war films, and it all kind of like plays into how it kind of progresses like this mythos forward and kind of like brings everything into kind of like fully realize kind of an ecosystem of a world or galaxy rather. So my idea is I want my species to have something that's specific to a planet, but kind of builds upon stuff that's already existing in the Star Wars universe. And also, one thing that I really like in Star Wars is when they kind of build stuff not just within the existing like post Death Star Wars worlds, but also like kind of ancient Star Wars, like when Knights of the Old Republic takes place like 6,000 or so years before the events of that. I really like when they kind of build on stuff when it's like in different times. So my idea is I want a species that's kind of a almost like a progenitor species, something that's been around for a long time, something that's been incredibly influential to like how Star Wars is as this universe now, but not actually like known about. My idea is I want something that was big in the days of the Old Republic, something that was incredibly influential but didn't actually have like the means of becoming like a superpower in the way that the Mandalorians used to be. And for people who don't know about Star Wars, Mandalorians are essentially the species that
Plays the mandolin.
Exactly.
they might, but
They used to be a warfaring species.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they
Badasses.
became all peaceful and stuff.
and the most famous of which you may know as Boba Fett.
Is he mechanically Mandalorian?
May not.
Yeah, he is. He comes from the ancient species of the Mandalore, but his father was like one of the last like main guy some work, but even then he was a bounty hunter, not a full-on warrior. They're kind of like what I'm thinking, in that they used to be really big, but now they're kind of like this subspecies. Like no one really knows
Kind
about
of let
it
it
anymore.
go, gained a few pounds.
Wouldn't
Kind of.
Django be part of the Death Watch then if he was still like all warrior and stuff?
I think it only depends on if his family was active and it was part of his family, because the Mandalorians are all very clan family based.
Right, that's right.
And so, if he was adopted by a family that, was part of the Death Watch, then yes. But it would take something along those lines because they're a totally clan based warrior clan people thing.
Yeah.
Clan.
Badasses.
Hey, I have a sniper. Can I join your clan?
Okay. But you know what? As we're kind of talking, I feel like I'm going to develop this kind of more as I go along. I probably should have thought about this a bit more beforehand. But what I'm really thinking about right now is I want something that's been kind of on the sidelines in the Star Wars universe for a long time and kind of like makes you think a bit more about the roots of where all this political stuff and the new Star Wars stuff kind of comes from. So what I'm thinking about right now is I wanted something that was around when the Mandalorians were on the rise, something that was around when the Separatists were gaining speed, something that kind of has their own connection to the Force and kind of has their own connection to their planet, something that has a home in the Star Wars universe and makes you think a bit more about how this whole ecosystem works. So that's what I'm thinking about. So it might seem a bit broad, but that's kind of where I'm going. But Rod, do you have preferably more realized idea than I do right now, or?
I actually had a few, but mine are all very kind of, well, at least a couple of them are silly, I think. And it's difficult because there are so many things, like, you can just squash together any two animals, and it already exists in the Star Wars universe.
That's kind of more Avatar's thing. Avatar: Last Airbender, I mean.
Right. So, but like, there are certain things that I've never seen in the Star Wars universe, like, gelatinous blobs.
That's surprising. Usually everything has a gelatinous
You would
blob
think,
in it.
right? But there is none in the Star Wars that I could find. So I'm claiming the gelatinous blob.
I claim this blob as my own.
Claiming it.
What about like a going back to aquatic species, like kind of like a jellyfish kind of
Yeah,
species?
there you
That'd
go.
be so
That'd be
cool.
awesome. Yeah. And like they build containers for themselves that are motorized, right? That are glass, right? And they just cruise around in those.
I like that.
Yeah, and they communicate through, I don't know, the movements of the tentacles and stuff.
Yeah. Totally. I love it. That's fantastic. So yes, that's the gelatinous folks,
Do they have a
gelatins.
name?
the gelatins,
The
The
gelatin.
gelatins. I love
The Jello
it.
people.
the Jella people.
Yes, we are the Jello people. We have come to the Bespin platforms and we're here for all of your Tabana gas.
The great Bill Cosby leader.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't go there.
got the pudding pop.
That would make some very odd. I don't want to think about what that means for like how their species works, man. Like,
Then the other idea I had was that, and again, I'm kind of stealing from things, but there is, as far as I know, nowhere in the Star Wars, either expanded universe or canon or anywhere, where there's a truly sentient planet. And so,
like Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
like I said, I'm stealing things.
I was gonna say something, but no, that was the DC universe. You know, that
Yeah.
planet that becomes a Green Lantern.
Yeah, sure. But there is nothing in the Star Wars universe that I know of that it has that quality, and we can fit it into it by making it like relevant to the Force somehow. Like say that
definitely
like
would
the
make
Force
sense.
like is like the dark side and light side are both contained within this planet. It is completely living and just hides itself from everybody because
Fuck you
it's
guys.
too powerful, and
Instead of a normal planet core, it's just full of midichlorians.
yeah, it's just Force energy, man. Just filled.
That's
with
actually
Force
really
energy.
cool. That would be really cool.
And I think I had a third one, but I've forgotten it. So if I remember it again,
I got one for you. Okay. Way back when the Force was being discovered, there was these. Think of this as like the Silmarillion of Star Wars. There's these wizard guys that have really mastered it,
Jedi.
and they decided to try to. Yeah, they're more than Jedis. You know, it's like beyond Yoda. Okay, and they've decided to try to actually create their own species. And so now there's this planet out there, and not a lot of people know about it, but because they messed around with different materials and like, you know, is it a carbon-based life form or a silicon-based life form or this or that, and they ended up with these basically living stuffed animals that are a lot like Fraggles. And there's a whole part of the planet that's just like Fraggle Amazon warriors. So there's like these stuffed animals with big old breasts and everything. And like when you hit them with a blaster, you see like burning cotton and shit. They don't bleed. They're full of some kind of strange stuffing.
Are they invincible unless they're fully burned?
I guess you could shred them up.
Just go into the battlefield
Daniel,
with a
just so
flamethrower.
we're clear on something,
Yeah,
is this something from your list? Is the whole stuffed animal idea like
No,
bleeding
it's not.
cotton? You're kidding.
You know what?
No, I came up with this idea before I wrote the list.
So, like, you off the cuff, you just came up with
animals.
stuffed animal people.
Yes.
That's right.
Like who bleed cotton.
Hey,
Yes.
you know, it's not that all that ridiculous. I mean, the dark side says they can like breathe life into things, so
Why not a
not?
teddy
Stuffed
bear?
animal,
Why
Yeah.
not breathe like the life of
And they're very-
Beanie Baby?
They're very mostly tribal, you know, very Ewok-y bunches all over this planet and stuff. And then I did wonder though, it's like, you know, is there a group of them that like knows how to fly spaceships and fighters and stuff? And then like, what are their spaceships and fighters look like?
just looks like a toy car going
exactly.
into space.
It's the
They're
Lego
made out of
Star
Legos.
Wars buildup. They just used Lego Star Wars.
That's right.
Actually, Lego Star Wars exists inside the normal
Yes.
Star Wars
Oh, some of
universe.
them can be really big. Like,
Inception.
like remember that giant teddy bear thing from Akira?
Oh
You know,
shit.
he could be there.
That'd be
How do they reproduce?
they don't.
Do they
It's like Ewok orgies.
just like they stack each other on top of each other and then
Well, I was
somehow
thinking
no
like the
one's born?
stuffing it isn't really cotton. It is their like our blood is our life. It's their stuff, and so they need to
Their
make
stuffing.
more of that somehow.
As soon as they're
Right.
found by the Empire, they're just destroyed immediately.
It's too
Alien versus
adorable. We
Empire,
can't
you
have
know?
this in our empire.
That's right. That's
It
right.
would
but the
ruin our
Empire-
They
image.
don't bleed.
No.
Kill them.
They farm them, man. Because think about it. You're a little kid in the Empire. Best Christmas gift ever.
Daddy, I want one
Did
of
you
those.
say that they're
It will be
tribal?
done.
I don't know. The Empire.
Well, the ones that
huge
live on the planet.
xenophobes.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
there's domesticated
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
you know, I hadn't taken it that far yet, but I was thinking, like, yeah, there could be, you know, like on our own
Droids
planet,
might
there's
love 'em,
ancient
though.
civilizations on our
Because
planet.
droids will
and
be
there's
like,
not so ancient, you know.
They're
So it's like,
not really
there's some that
living.
do
They're
know how
not
to-
really dead.
What do they
You
feed
know?
off?
Yeah. Do they
We-
eat?
I bet they eat like
I'm gonna consider them undead.
There's-
humans
They don't
and
eat
non-humans?
humans. I bet they eat something like
There's plants that were
womp
made by
rat
these
feces or
oh,
something.
gross.
Jedi wizards. There's plants that were also made by the Gandalf Jedi wizards that grow on this
The
planet.
Gandalf
That's-
Jedi wizards.
and it looks like these flowers that look like kind of like cotton candy. And it looks just kind of like they're stuffing inside. And they
Oh.
just pick it and...
See, I was
And
thinking
that's how they reproduce and make more. They like take that and put it in more stuff.
This isn't
bagger.
feeling
They're like
100%
truffle
Star
trees.
Wars.
I was thinking
And then they can sew their own shapes, so they can make up creatures. They can
This has
just
gone
kind of
a little-
sew
I'm
it
just
together.
imagining that there's a Star Wars planet that just happens to be full of Dr. Seuss characters, and this thing happens to be one of them.
Yeah, this is a Christmas special.
Honestly,
Star
don't
Wars
say that.
edition.
The Grinch will steal it.
Honestly, I want to see them in 1,000 years when they're just a bunch of like weird, patched up looking weird things because like they
Just-
ran out of materials to
that's
make
a
more.
horror movie right
just,
there.
yeah. Wearing sandals with socks. It'll be
Cool
horrible.
it, David Cronenberg. We're not getting that messed up today.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, everyone would stop messing with them. So
Yeah, I have to admit, this I like this idea, but I do not see it.
How
in
would they
the
see?
Star
Do they
Wars
have-
universe?
do they have like normal eyeballs, or do they have like buttons for eyes, and somehow they like sense
They
the
have
environment?
camera sensors.
Cameras, oh, like nanny cams.
Sure. Yes.
No,
Nanny
this
cams.
is all some kind of strange organic material.
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Definitely. And I was actually thinking of Fraggles.
Oh, okay.
they
So
look
it's not
like
some.
that a lot.
So thank God it's not gonna be some creepy Coraline thing with like buttons for eyes.
Oh, don't talk about
the whole
Coraline.
planet has different species within itself, so there could be fraggly looking monsters too. Yeah.
Lovely.
That's a scary planet. Not one I'd want to go to. Could you imagine like crash landing on that?
No, but then
planet?
yeah,
And just being like,
you
what
not only
the
domesticate
fuck?
them,
I'm
but
just
you
gonna
make them like
stay in my
slaves.
ship.
Yeah.
I can
I'll
die. I
wait
can
for
live.
death.
I don't care.
But the Empire could domesticate a bunch of them and make them like slaves, and then, like I said, for your kid, a little fraggly stuffed animal guy that can walk
don't think
inside.
the-
Best Christmas present
I
ever.
don't think the Empire would like farm them and make them live. I think that since the Empire are huge xenophobes, as we
They
said
are.
before,
They are.
I think they would like hunt them and then sew up the gunshot and then sell those as like
Yeah.
kids' toys and stuff.
Or-
yeah.
What happens when they rot?
They don't. They're made out of
You
stuffing.
preserve them.
They're undead.
Okay. We
Then
just
why would they
all
need to
had
reproduce?
vastly different answers.
Undead stuffed animal people.
Zombie.
Zombies. stuffed
Zombie
animal
Star
things.
Wars.
Zombie
Yeah,
beanie
that's-
Oh, that'd be
babies.
crazy! Like a zombie virus that goes from planet to planet.
Oh,
That's
dear
actually
God.
an expanded universe story. It's non-canon naturally, but it
I
was some kind of
hope
virus
so.
that the Empire created, and I think it was called Death Troopers. It has a pretty cool cover. That's why I remember it.
What's wrong with the
think
Empire?
that's
What's wrong?
stupid.
Like, how can people think that they were the good guy?
Because
at
they're
all?
bad.
So there
That's
was
the
there was a Sith. I can remember his name, but there was a Sith that
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
who
You've
was
heard his story.
he had some sort of accident. The Sith were using some mega weapon, right? During one of the various wars between the Sith and the Galactic Empire, and this guy got injured in such a way that he needed to suck the force out of people and things around him in order for him to not suffer terribly. So the only way he felt like he could fill the empty hole inside of him was to literally suck the force energy out of everything around him.
He just wants love.
And he would suck dry entire planets regularly. Yeah.
So he's like Unicron.
He was basically just he was considered a screaming terror in the Force.
Sound kind of like Galactus.
Yeah, some of the Sith are pretty gnarly. Like they were,
The Siths are gnarly? What?
yes.
So just to clarify where we're going with this, this is like this giant planet that's like incessantly screaming all the time, like planets. Is this Star Wars we're talking about?
Like
this sounds like the Screaming Sun from
That's.
Rick and
I was
Morty.
about to bring that up.
How
Yeah.
long are the days on this planet? 48
Oh,
hours.
that was the third. That was the other thing I thought of was which was stealing from Rick and Morty.
Go on.
A giant head. That's
Show me what you
Is
got.
it a giant chicken head?
no, just a
want
giant
to
head.
see what you
That's
got.
that's the creature. A gigiant head.
Oh wait, is that one of your things?
Yeah, it is.
Whoa, damn!
and it
It's way too random.
likes good music.
Oh, that was good. That was good,
Yeah.
Dean. I was hoping people would just be like, oh, it's just Mackenzie.
It's just Mackenzie, big Mackenzie, screaming about chicken heads.
Chicken head!
Also, I've been kind of like developing my ideas. Earlier, Daniel gave me a piece of paper and a pen. Basically, I've come up with a few ideas that I want to incorporate that I've kind of like been developing. First of all, I like the idea of a caste system. The idea that these guys live on a system that largely
I always loved caste-based societies, like
yeah, it's like
the dwarves in Dragon Age. That's one of my favorite races because of their caste system.
Yeah, my
It's so
idea is
interesting.
that kind of the larger roles of their society are based off of like how they fit into just like how exactly they fit in based off of like what they've been essentially raised and like bred to do. So given how I can fit that into the Star Wars universe, my idea is that they used to be a very like traditionalist race who was kind of like in it for themselves, kind of like they didn't want anything to do with like any of the industrial elements of Star Wars. But then all of a sudden, like they started developing like mining systems on their planet, which made them a target for like the Republic and
That would happen.
the Sith Empire. This is my idea is back in the days of like the Old Republic, like after the Mandalorian Wars. They become hyper industrialized all at once. Like they become like this huge superpower for certain elements. One of which maybe could be kyber crystals, because one of the things about the caste system is that I want one of them to be Force users. Like even if they don't like become Jedi, then they can have like elements of the Force that they can kind of raise as their own and kind of become like the monks of their planet, almost like airbenders.
If they're like mining kyber crystals, then they would be a big target for both Jedi and Sith.
Yeah, but they can't use them, which is why they don't have a lot of Jedi in their society. And one of the other ones.
Wait,
would
if
be
they're Force sensitive, why can't they use the kyber crystals?
Actually, I don't remember how a lot of the kyber crystals work, like logistically or technically. Is it like they can only be used by Force sensitive people?
Well,
or is
if
it
you're
like-
Force sensitive and you go inside a cave with kyber crystals in it, then you can only find a kyber crystal when it chooses you. When it like, it's weird. It's like you go inside there, you go through a trial, and the kyber crystal chooses you, and then you can. Dink. Okay, cool.
It's funny because in Knights of the Old Republic, you can literally just be all like, "Oh, I found this giant pearl off of a great dragon. Let me just toss this into my lightsaber." You can just do that in the game.
Right.
But basically, my idea is after this hyper-industrialization, they split into two kind of major castes: the Force users, kind of like monks who use the Force, kind of like study based off of this. Heavily like indoctrination based like system, kind of like Jedi, but they're not allowed to use the kyber crystals because those are mined by like the two major superpowers and kind of like taken off world. And the other ones are the spacefarers, the ones who don't really have like an upstanding role in their society, which is kind of like the masses, like the poor, who get forced off world and are forced to find their wealth on other planets. My idea for this is that you can develop a kind of subgroup for them where they're Force sensitive, but they're not accepted as like part of the major caste for it. So they become spacefarers, they find their wealth, and they sort of become nomadic Force users who go and create their own lightsabers. They kind of become like the scrappers of this world.
Until they
build
land
a-
on Tatooine, then they just become lounge singers.
pretty much. So my idea is they're kind of either heavily traditionalist or like incredibly what would the word be for it? Like they're scrappers. They can pretty much just like build anything. They can go anywhere. They're very like business savvy. My idea is that they can just be like this heavily polarized society. And
So you only got the two castes. You don't have like
I might create some subcasts, but
like
those are my two main
like a
ideas.
warrior caste and a noble caste. There's got to be a noble caste.
Well, my idea is that the
Super
Force
workers.
users are incredibly like elitist because they're like, oh, this is like the upper 1%. Well,
so
we can use the
they
Force,
would
so
be,
we must be the best.
They would be the noble caste, and I'm assuming they would be the ones kind of like ruling amongst them.
Yeah, pretty much. They kind of see it as like a holy ritual to be able to use the Force, to be able to essentially affect the world around them, like intangibly. Essentially, they see it as less of a force for good or evil, and more just like a polarizing effect. Like, we're better than you. We can use this power. Like,
For Kyber crystal suppositories. It's a medicinal
is that on your
name.
list, Daniel?
No, bluff! Boom!
Then you're
Another
messed
point
up.
for me.
Seriously? Oh yeah, I forgot about the bluff points. But basically, that's where I'm at right now. They're heavily traditionalist, and a bunch of them are spacefaring, and they're scrappers. So that's where I am right now. I'll keep developing as we go along. Who's next?
Oh, we still.
Well, I mean, we all.
I feel like
yeah.
we're kind of going.
I mean, I feel like we could grow on it.
Yeah.
So for mine, what I was thinking is that since they have like all of these robotic parts and stuff, that a bunch of them they don't have the ability to
use the Force?
No. I don't know. I don't know if they're force bearing.
Well, I mean, I feel like
creatures.
if they're like very robotic, they wouldn't be able to. I mean, the reason
harder.
why.
No, I don't think so.
Your
You
force.
think anybody in any race could have some?
Yeah, but the reason why-
Here's the story. Here's the story. Okay, if you are a force user, right, the force is in your body, and if you lose parts of your body, your force ability becomes diminished.
Exactly.
That is why Anakin Skywalker was an amazing badass with the force,
But he can't
And if he
use it.
had stayed whole, he would have been a way more badass.
Super Sith.
Death
Right.
thing
Yeah.
than what he ended up, which is already pretty badass because let's face it, Darth Vader is Darth Vader. Nobody wants to be in the same room with the guy. He will
But
screw
the
you
big
up.
problem is that he's actually incredibly weak because he has to rely on that suit. He looks
Exactly.
really cool, but he's actually kind of,
I wouldn't say he's weak. I'd say that the way I would say it is that his potential in the Force
Is diminished.
and a lot of the weaknesses that occurred as a result of losing his limbs are made up for in large part by the suit. But in total, he would have been more badass had he not lost his limbs.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
okay, so
the-
then. So go ahead.
Sorry, it's the reason why we only see him Force choke people. We never
Right.
see him use Force lightning or
Lightning.
anything like that.
Because it would
Just 'cause
destroy
he's-
his own equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't know that. Okay, so yeah, so I feel like maybe the Tentarans were used to be very force sensitive, and now since they've kind of screwed themselves over,
Yeah.
they don't really have that anymore. And a lot of them, they can't do the mimic ability that they have because, you know, if they have the
Right.
robotic eyes or like half their face, or even like if their arm, like they can't
It would just
change
come
that.
out looking weird.
Yeah, it looks all mixed matched. I can speak English.
So are there like
They're like
Puritans? Puritans are like no robot parts for me. I'm
they
staying
can't.
pure.
They can't anymore
Because they're born
it's
without
adapted
legs
out
or
of it.
without
Yeah.
arms or without
So they're
eyes.
born with all of these deformities now.
And so they have to have some sort of mechanical
So they
implant
have to. But
just
they're
to function.
I feel like because when you asked earlier if they're part of the empire or I feel like the reason that they're so neutral is because they think that they're above everybody. They're very uppity people, but and like I said, like they have the whole color system where they're naturally born with like this bright orange skin, orangish
Orange
red.
lives matter, man.
Orange lives matter. But so they changed their skin color. Like I said, if they're the richer, dye their skin more intricate colors, harder colors and stuff. And so you have those different classes out there for everybody to see.
I don't know if you like developed a history for these, but why would they start doing that? Is like intricate colors a rare thing amongst the species? And it's like, oh,
Well,
wow,
I mean,
look
how
at that.
hard would it be to change your whole skin color from like orange to like blue or
And just keep it like that.
yeah.
So them
It's like
changing
it's
is like
like
great focus.
yeah,
that they
it's like
need.
how the Chinese, when they were wealthy, they painted their nails.
right.
You
and
know, like
how
that's kind of what I was thinking.
in Europe how they dyed their teeth black to show that they
they-
eat a lot of sweets.
Did they do that?
Because the rich people got to eat a lot of sweets, so
I
if your
didn't know
teeth were
that.
rotting, then you were rich.
Oh, yeah. Let's all rot our teeth, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I feel like the warrior people though, they do like this like mixed pattern, to like show that they're like out there, like some kind of like tie dye.
Nice.
I feel like that would be really cool just to have like a whole, just so many colors to prove that like
Swirly, tie-dyed
Right.
gnome with blasters.
tie dye fighters.
I like it.
feel like
Tie dye fighters.
tie dye
I
fighters.
just imagine a bunch of like TIE fighters who are flown by hippies and shit, and they're like, they have like spray painted. It's kind of like a VW van, except like it's a TIE fighter with a
Except
big
they're very
cloud of smoke
uppity
coming out from the top.
But like I just think it'd be really cool to have that, and but a lot of them aren't fighters anymore because of how what's what I'm looking for, held back they are when they tried to push themselves forward and it failed. And so I feel like since they are uppity people, like I said, they're so ashamed that they failed themselves, and that's why they stay out of everybody's business. Because it's like, oh no, we're better than you. We're gonna stay over here. But really, they're like, we kind of suck now, and let's not.
I
show
don't know.
That to
I
the
kind of
world.
feel bad for them. They had this great ability and they messed it
And
up
they
for
fucked it up.
themselves.
That
Yeah.
happens.
Unfortunate.
Kids these days with their smart arms, and their
Smart
legs,
arms.
So
and their smart eyeballs.
I always feel like there's always problems with caste system. It's
Oh, yeah.
The caste system is what led the Kryptonians to their downfall.
I thought it was an exploding sun.
No, really, it was the
changes,
caste
doesn't
system. It was the fact that they always had every person was born with a specific job, a specific duty. Superman himself was the very first,
Oh yeah, we're talking
pre-born
about,
person.
He wasn't meant to become a scientist like his father.
He wasn't he wasn't born in a tube. He was born naturally from his
Oh.
parents. He was the first Kryptonian true born in hundreds of years. So Krypton was it was the caste system. Like every single person that lived on Krypton, whoever you were, whatever you did, that was what you were designed to be. And that's why
Like
they couldn't
Logan's
change.
Run.
That's why they couldn't change, and that's why they couldn't react to the conditions around them, and that's why they died. The caste system.
Wow.
Oh, is that why? Because if you ever, I'm assuming Kara Zor-El, she was born in a tube.
Yes.
So, when you actually look at it, Kara is a lot stronger than Cal is.
Sure.
So is that possibly the reason why that's that? Because she was born in a tube specifically for like pure Kryptonian DNA, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And Cal was born just by two Kryptonians being all like, let's get down and dirty.
Getting it on. Yes.
I never thought about it like that. She's also very angry though. She got like chosen for Red Lantern ring, so
Right.
and you need big old
Anger.
rage for that.
Anger. Well, some people just have problems.
Back to the Star
I guess
Wars thing.
it happens when your sun
When you
blows
lose your
up.
planet.
Remember, the question wasn't just species; it's also characters.
I don't believe in characters.
I had a character idea. It's not
Was that
one
crack?
specific character though.
Sugar.
There's this game that they play on some planet somewhere. That's like a mix of roller derby and basketball, and there's an anti-gravity stadium that they play in, and most planets that have a team for this game, everybody on the team is the same species, right? But then there's this one team that's more like the Harlem Globetrotters. And there's like, a guy that looks like General Akbar is on the team, and there's a Wookiee, and
It's a trap.
maybe there's even an Ewok on the team. I don't know, but there's this like flopsy mopsy bunch
Hey
of
man,
different-
white Ewoks can't jump.
Sounds like sounds like Space
they're
Jam.
the Harlem Globetrotters of space. The Harlem
Dude.
Space Trotters.
Dude, can we just I don't want to go on a tangent here, but Space Jam, but Star Wars.
I just
Make
said
it
that.
Exactly.
No. Just imagine that for a second, man. How awesome would that be?
Amazing.
It has to be basketball, though.
I always had an idea for a Star Wars character, and it's because after watching the Clone Wars is when I first got introduced to the Kakarodan, the shark species.
Yep.
And I always thought, like, why don't we see more ex-separatists in the rebellion? Because the Empire won't accept aliens, but the Separatists were very pro-alien. There were a
Yes.
lot of alien generals and whatnot.
It was almost entirely aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
There are like almost no humans in the separatist movement at all.
I kind of want to see like bitter ex-separatists in the rebellion, and one of my ideas would be a Kakarodan just going around being like, "Grr, grr, grr, I hate being this god, but I hated that guy before. I almost killed him."
Sorry, Dean. Which one is Kakarodan again?
They're like the shark species,
Sharks.
all shark fins and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Very evil because they're sharks.
Right.
But
Obviously.
yeah, I would just love to see one of them just angry walking around, going like, "Oh, that son of a bitch emperor! God damn it!"
Okay, so wait, I really want to go back to this Hut Jedi.
So do I.
We're always
Because-
going back to
The
the
banana
banana
slug
slug Jedi.
Yeah, there totally was a Hut Jedi. Yes.
Like, there's
There might even be more than one, actually.
Yeah, the Hutts have been around for a long time.
Because the Hutts have been around for a long time, and so
Yeah.
have the Jedi.
So are they not all as fat as Jabba?
Well, he's still big and fat.
He's
just
big, but he was a lot leaner.
Yeah.
And a lot muscular, like actually muscular.
He had muscles?
Yeah, because you know Jedi
He had
training.
muscles?
He had muscle.
Jedi training is intense, man.
Yeah.
You should know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No. He was a kind of a badass.
But
And way back, there were Hutts that looked more like a piece of spaghetti.
This guy.
I just
Yeah, they had eating disorders. It was like a very tragic time for them.
Anorexic Jabba the Hutt.
Lots of counseling, lots of therapy.
So I'm just picturing like Jabba the Hutt with like a 6-pack and
exactly.
some big old muscles.
Did you find a picture of
You
it?
said that. I thought
I'm sorry to interrupt.
He's looking at the Kakardans.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Ever since Dean mentioned the Kakardans, which are spelled Karkarodon, I looked it up. They look stupid. They're just like humanoid sharks with like this stupid little munchy head. Like
No, yeah. Imagine like a bro with a
There
shark
used to be
head.
one on Saturday Night
yeah.
Live a long time ago, and he would
This
knock
looks
on your
like a
door and
character
say,
that would be on
"Land
Saturday Night Live. Look at that.
Yep, land
Look at
shark.
that. Rod,
Land
you looking
shark.
at this?
Oh, yes.
Mackenzie, look at that.
I love him.
looks
I would
so
protect
dirty.
him.
Oh, you'll have to look it up yourself, folks out there in podcast
so
land, because
grumpy.
they're looking at pictures now.
Okay, that's not like as lean and muscular as I was picturing.
What are you
I thought he had like a
Rod,
6-pack.
God, no. He's still a slug.
You said muscular. I'm
still a
picturing like a
slug, though.
6-pack. That's what I want to see. I want to see
What's his
a
name?
hut
What's
with a
his name?
6-pack.
I don't think that's. I don't think like There it is.
Fuck yeah!
Happy.
I'd hit that.
But I don't.
Jabba got some gains, man. He's got a
since you
worm
know-
6-pack. How does that happen?
That's not a 6-pack, yo.
Nice
That goes
and
all
slimy.
the way down.
His abs go. That's a 20-pack.
with his
He
own
has any
lube.
legs.
Since the Hutts are like insect-based species, I don't think they can naturally get a 6-pack ever.
Maybe he got plastic surgery or something.
Oh,
Leave
yeah,
him
it's a-
alone. He looks good, all right?
I just want to look good.
No, even better.
People
I
keep
just
making fun
imagine,
of me.
like, if we're talking about, like, Jabba the Hutt getting, like, or just any Hutt getting, like,
Turning his life around, being
turning
all
his
like,
life around.
you know
he
what?
just, like, has a midlife crisis. You know, he gets, like, hair plugs. Is that what
Yeah.
they're called? He just gets, like, some new hair. He, like, works out a bunch. He just, like, creates a new image of himself. And by the end,
You
he's
know,
just, like,
that would
a
be-
worm with, like, a really cool haircut.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
they call him Donald Trump.
Everything comes back to politics, doesn't it? Honestly, you know, like, I've talked about this a bunch before. I'm just, like, sick of, like, just politics nowadays is
I
just
wanna
kind of
talk
weird.
more about
I'm here to
sexy
talk about
Jabba.
Star Wars and everything keeps
Yeah,
going
me
back
too.
to.
I want to talk more about the sexy huts.
Actually,
Sexy
speaking
Hutts,
of
let's talk about
sex
that.
and Hutts, I've only seen one female Hutt, and that's Jabba's mother. Are they like a
Ew.
brood mother? Like, is she a brood mother? No, right? Because then they
forgot
would have a
about
hive
that.
mind kind of thing.
Yeah, no,
like,
there are female Hutts. Yes.
there are more than just the mother.
Yes, yes.
Okay, just wondering because that's
Yes.
all I've
And
seen.
the
in
Clone
Mother
Wars.
Hut.
She's super ugly too.
They're in the
That's
Clone Wars.
mean.
There's,
Well, she's really-
a
She is
couple.
a.
She has
I'm
like
sure she's a lovely,
like a really
older
low,
lady.
raspy voice. Yeah, I'm gonna look up a
Does she
picture.
look like the girl from Monsters Inc?
Watching you, Wazowski. You didn't file your
But bigger?
paperwork last night.
Okay.
Han Solo, you didn't
So now I'm
return my
Okay, but
son's
how do they reproduce? Like,
You're gonna
by
get
sex.
frozen
Bring
in
it up,
cup.
man.
so do they have like
They have Hut orgies.
hut orgies?
Yeah, they're all just sliding around each other.
They get on top of Zumbas. and
You were
go to
pretty
town.
close. It's her, but a lot bigger.
Fuck yes, I'd hit that. I want to know. Are there more attractive of the female huts?
I've never seen one. That's attractive.
They
I
they
think-
are very very much like the males.
Do they have boobs?
I think my brother
No, they're
married
slugs.
Well, that one had a 6-pack. So
What you got against Jabba boobs?
okay,
Jaboobs.
what do?
Female Hut.
Oh, she's.
They're looking
hot.
at pictures again.
She's hot.
So you'll have to
Oh,
look it up
wow.
yourselves, folks.
Look at those Hut Tata. Look at those Hut Tatas.
Do they have like reproductive organs, like little, you know, like do the guys
Yeah.
have like hut nuggets or
See,
like?
Hut Nuggets. That's what we should call them.
What we think is attractive would never be attractive for a Hut because the bigger the better. for
I don't
them.
know. His abs were pretty attractive.
Wait, what part is
I'm
the hut
attracted.
nugget?
The hut nugget?
What's a hut nugget?
I think you can imagine what a hut nugget
okay.
is.
I think a guy who's into larger women might really enjoy a hut.
Yeah, probably.
There are women who are interested in larger men as well.
And they might really enjoy a hut as well.
Like, someone
except-
goes by, I'm like, oh my god, look at those hut nuggets.
Zero the Hut was actually into that one lounge singer with the
Oh,
big
yeah.
old
Oh, yeah.
tube nose. So
Totally.
they're not all into large women. He was into like a rather small person.
See, different
like,
strokes
devour
for different species.
That'd be
Hey man,
interesting.
if you want to screw with Jabba's mom, like, don't, I'm not judging, man. You just do you.
That's right.
I'm judging a little. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to tap the one that had the 6-pack.
Mostly because
That's
Jabba's
alright.
mom had a really messy house, and I don't think I could deal with that.
See, that's fair. Not like
Yeah.
for her personality and
No,
like some
yeah.
of the habits that she has. That's all right. That's
you gotta consider, all the factors.
Exactly. Like, meet me halfway. Clean up
Yeah.
your
Well,
swamp
and I
hut.
mean, would you want to be? Would you want to be Jabba's stepfather?
I feel like that would be hard, but I
Mike
think I could get
Wazowski?
around to him.
You think you could do it?
I think I could
You mean
connect
Mike
to him.
Wazowski?
And I'm pretty sure
Oh,
that,
we're talking about
that when
Razia?
huts go,
yeah.
when
Oh, I thought
huts
he said
slug
Jabba Hutt's
around,
mom.
they leave a slime trail.
But then you'd always know where to find her.
Yeah.
She couldn't be like,
Huts are
I
very easy
did
to
not go over there. You'd be like, oh, well,
That was you. I'm a human being.
I know that.
fuck you.
Slime trail.
To be in a relationship with a slug.
The dream, apparently.
By the way, I've done some more developing or just thinking in my head of like where I want my species to
They're
go.
not all slug creatures, right?
They're not slug creatures.
Damn
And they
it, I don't wanna hear
and
it.
they don't have hut nuggets. In fact, I'm still trying to come up with a name for them, but basically, like I said, actually, let me
Oh,
start
what
from the
about
beginning
like
with
no
that.
one knows their names? What about like people just call them the forgotten
Ooh,
ones?
they're like ancient.
It's a bit too
that's so
I think that's
cool.
cool. I
Right?
like it.
Thank
It's
you.
super cliche, but I like
I
it.
like it too.
Can I just say something about that though?
The Mysterions.
Yes. Not at all cheesy.
Here's the thing: in any not just Star Wars, but like any sci-fi, space, opera kind of thing, there's always like some kind of species that is considered like the ancient ones, who are like kind of very similar to how like the species that we're focusing on is at the current like present time, but like we made mistakes and our empire fell. It's like my idea is that I want to do something
that
different with it. I
happens.
want to. Well, it happens all the time. It's just
Yeah,
kind
we
of
got the
boring.
Romans.
When it doesn't happen, your empire is still going.
Yeah, but true. But it's like every single. Think about it. Mass Effect.
It's kind
has-
of, what you're saying is, it's always the last place I look when I find
No,
the
no,
thing
no,
I'm
that's
looking
the
for.
thing. Mass
It's
Effect,
always the last place I look.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect has the Protheans.
Well, to be fair-
Homeworld has the progenitors. Like, I'm thinking of other ones. I'm
be
pretty sure Star
fair,
Wars had a bunch of other
On
ones.
the Protheans, the Reapers just came and fucked them in the ass.
True.
So,
But my idea is I want to do something different with it. But let me start from the beginning. Let me set the scene. It is the midst of the Mandalorian and Jedi wars. There's horrible things happening in the inner and outer rim. Tons of worlds are just being absolutely wrecked. And there's just war everywhere. But in the midst of the outer rim, far beyond anywhere which any of the major empires or groups would ever go beyond,
How many parsecs?
14 parsecs.
Thank you.
Anyway,
4,000.
that's way too many parsecs.
It's really
of it.
far away.
Also, parsec is a measurement of time in Star Wars canon.
really
But
long
anyway.
You're now in hyperspace. Distance is time.
Only theater
Yeah, we're
geeks
just talking
know how
about,
this
like-
works.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, it is the midst of the Mandalorian wars, and on the very edge of the Outer Rim, far beyond anywhere the Mandalorians or the Jedi or even the Sith would ever go, there is a planet that is heavily traditional, not at all industrialized. They're almost something you would never see in the Sar Wars universe.
The
'cause they're
periphery.
nothing you would ever see that's like at all industrialized. They're traditional. There's nothing to them that's at all that would fit.
Planet's name Bob.
I'm still trying to come up with names, okay? Let me finish, okay? Okay. And within this world, there are
The world named Bob.
It's not called Bob.
It can be called Bob for now. You don't have to name it.
You know, you don't get to decide.
Can I
they get to
continue?
decide.
Can I continue? Guys, can I continue, please?
What do you do for a living? Oh, hi, Bob. I'm Bob.
Can I continue?
From
All right,
Bob.
go on.
Oh, guys! Hey. But then all of a sudden, a discovery is made. Miners on the planet open up a cavern and discover something shiny, something glimmering. They discover kyber crystals. And in the midst of it,
Hat nuggets.
word gets out almost immediately. And all of a sudden, the Republic, the Empire, the Mandalorians, everyone is on them, trying to become like this huge superpower of resources. They become a proxy state. And everyone either splits into two categories. They become the traditionalists who focus entirely on their old ways, and the ones who want to become heavily industrialized, make everything modern. And then they discover something else.
Zumba.
Beyond, not hot nuggets. That doesn't come until later. They also discover,
tasty
with
snack.
the discovery of the kyber crystals, some of them, a select few, about 5% of them, discover to use the Force. And beyond that, they're even more divided into the elitists, Force users who are indoctrinated from practically birth. As soon as they know that they're Force users, they become this superpower on this planet. They control the universe of. They control their resources. They control like this almost religious type of scenario. The rest of them have no purpose but for the labor, all the busy work of this planet. But then something else happens. They become divided in of themselves, the Force users, and a bunch of this lower class becomes antsy. Some of them know how to use the Force. Some of them have been denied this privilege of being like in this powerful position. So then an uprising comes about and they take back their planet. They become less of a proxy state and more of a superpower. They have kyber crystals. They've wiped out this indoctrinating religious figure of like the traditionalists. They've become a new society. They become something wholly different. But then they don't know what to do with themselves. They have trouble trading because a lot of the superpowers have nothing to do with them. There are embargoes. They are weak, but they have everything they need to become a superpower.
They're North Korea.
They become spacefaring. A bunch of them become nomads. They go off in the universe to seek their wealth, and abandoning their traditions, they become the artists. They become the forward thinkers. They become this heavily adaptation-worthy species that can essentially adapt to any planet that they come across. They go to Hoth. They're going to make a bunch of thick, warm clothes for themselves to wear.
And
They go to
ice
Tatooine. They become business savvy. They're going to do whatever they can to succeed on that planet. And all the while, it becomes kind of like this punk society. They're scrappers. They paint themselves. They groom themselves in incredibly odd ways. If they had hair, they would have mohawks, but they don't have hair. And all the while, they become like this kind of untrustworthy race. They're so savvy of their own universe that everyone doesn't want to do with them financially. No, there's still embargoes on their planet. They all become like this kind of like stigmatic species.
Are they short or tall?
My idea is that they're on the tall side. My idea is like 8.5 feet. They're tall, lanky. They're kind of imposing, and all the
They
while
have those
they're
big
kind of
heads like that guy from the Twilight Zone that was to serve man.
They're like the moons.
That was a good episode.
Are you familiar with the moons?
the what?
The moon.
And
Yes, it's up
you-
there.
Oh, the moon? Yeah.
No.
I
yeah.
see it like almost every night.
the Star Wars.
Every
characters.
night?
Almost.
No.
Oh, okay.
They're the bankers.
That makes
They're
more
the
sense.
really, really tall, lanky.
Oh, yes, I know who
The moons.
who you talking about.
Huh.
And the Emperor's master was a moon.
Huh.
Plagius?
Yes.
Really?
What about Snoke?
Darth Plagueis is not human. Darth
Oh.
Plagueis is a moon.
Darth Vegas?
Plagueis.
No, now
Darth
I'm just
Plagueis
imagining.
the Wise.
No. Now I'm just imagining
Wow.
like the Sith
Darth
also
Plagueis
has
the
like.
Wise is a moon.
I've always
Darth Vegas is
imagined
that guy
him
that kind of
as
looks
a
like Darth
human.
Vader.
He's
got
not a
suit.
human.
That's
He's
racist.
Yeah,
a moon.
that's very
He's just like a
xenophobic of
pimp.
me.
There's a slot
I'm a
machine on the
fountain
front.
of Star Wars knowledge.
Hell, damn.
If you
That
if
completely
you don't win, he
changes
force
like
chokes you.
everything I knew about him.
Yeah. Darth Plagueis the Wise was a moon. and he was one of the most powerful Force, going into the mysteries of the Force users of all time.
Makes him a lot less intimidating.
A little bit, yeah.
He was one of the guys that made the Fraggle species planet.
He was not a nice guy. He used to
Really?
torture people and bring them back to life, and then torture them, and then repeat this for a long,
And is
long
he
time.
the one who impregnated Anakin's mother, or was
It
that?
is never stated outright.
But that's like
But if anybody
huge-
could, he could.
It's implied.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
implied.
totally. He had the ability to do that. He could totally do that.
He's the only Sith who could do the whole life and death
Yes.
thing. Right,
But
yeah.
then I feel like wouldn't Anakin look less human?
Well, I mean, like, since he was born of the Force from a human mother, there wasn't like
All
his
right, I see,
seed
I see.
that
Exactly.
was.
Exactly.
seed.
He literally could,
Moon seeds.
go in and change things inside of you to make you alive if you were dead, or conceive you if you didn't exist.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Think of what he could do with hot nuggets.
Palpatine just killed him.
Yeah.
Though is he dead? Oh, we don't know. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that Snoke is Plagueis, but I
I'd be
don't think
pissed.
so
Honestly.
at all.
There-
Since he
there's
doesn't
a-
look like a
There's a
moon.
really interesting scene in one of the books. I don't think it's canon. I think it's.
What the hell is canon?
Okay.
It means
So everything
confirmed.
that existed before, essentially Disney took over.
It's
Okay.
expanded universe.
Has
Got it.
which is all known as expanded universe, has become what is now known as legends. It is no longer hard fact. It is possibly true, possibly not. It could be, we don't know. The only things that are for real Star Wars now is everything that is considered canon.
Right.
So every time you discuss something, you have to differentiate whether we're talking canon or non-canon. What I'm about to say is non-canon. I forgot what I was about to say.
The reason why Disney calls them legends is because they want to keep the book open,
Right.
just in case they want to take.
They want to
some
bring
stuff.
something back.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, honestly, I feel like that's a good idea because then they won't piss people off.
Exactly.
You know,
but
they're
people
like,
are still pissed
listen,
off.
we don't know this good enough. That's all legend. If we say it's true, sure, and then it can be true.
I remember what I was going to say. So in Legends, the when Darth Plagueis kills his master to become his own boss, right? In the
As
Sith
the Sith
world,
do.
as the Sith are expected to
they
do. When he did that, there was a scene in the movie or in the book that I thought. Didn't know what it meant. I went back and reread it like 3 times to make sure I didn't like misread it. Right? He, as soon as he kills him, he feels his master's force gone, but he immediately feels another force, a darkness in the universe that they kind of recognize. Like, oh shit, there's another something out there, and then it hides itself, and it's never brought back again. Like, what was that shit? Right? It's just gone forever from the rest of the book. I checked several times to make sure, like, they made a reference to something at the beginning of Plagueis' life, that there was something out there that is never mentioned again. And
Do
so
you think Snoke is that thing?
I'm just saying, there's stuff going on that they just hint to, but don't give you any more info on.
You know,
So, yeah.
and I mean, like, it is a Sith ability to hide your Force sensibility.
Yeah. In fact,
I mean, Palpatine did it
Palpatine
for
was the
years,
master.
and he was like so good at it.
He was the master
Yoda was
of it.
right there in his face,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
just like, "What? You don't know? You don't know, Yoda?
chill,
Come at
dude.
me, bruh."
Chill, dude.
Yep. And he was like filled with force ability. That he
Yeah,
just kept
Palpatine
it
was so powerful.
so powerful.
He had midichlorians coming out the wazoo, man.
he
You don't even
basically-
know.
He was
He
like
snorted midichlorians for breakfast.
he was like a black hole of the force. Like, he literally had so much control over it. Like, during during the space battle and the battle down on the planet when they were trying to get rid of the second Death Star, he was kind of controlling everything on the ground and everything in space. Like, every single person that was in any fighter or doing anything anywhere was under his influence directly. and all simultaneously.
And he's like super cunning. He
Yeah.
manipulated the Republic without using the Force, because if he did, he would reveal himself.
Yeah.
And like, that's hard
Damn,
for.
he's way more badass than I give him
Yeah.
credit for.
He was amazing
Because he's an old man.
He was really truly
And he
amazing.
talks like this.
Yep.
Do it.
Yep.
Do it.
Yep.
Do it. Kill him.
All right, guys, I think it's time to count up some points.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, are we done?
We don't have to be. You got something to say?
I mean, like, I was still like considering a bunch of my stuff, and I didn't even come up with a name for mine.
man.
We have a time limit. We have a time limit today. I need to leave
But
at
she can't.
noonish.
She's got to leave. I have a gig today. All right, we're going to close it up.
Okay.
All right.
Let's count up some points.
Maybe in
Do
the
it.
future I'll like bring about my idea again somehow.
Let's just send it to.
Maybe we'll have another Star Wars special.
Okay, Rod, what'd you
Hopefully.
get?
All right, so I got Droid Love.
Droid Love.
Ayo,
I did that one.
you did.
Gnomes with blasters.
Oh, you did say that was
I
kind of
did.
random. I was
Ewok
like,
orgies.
I should have called that one.
You should have, because you would have gotten it.
Wow, yeah.
Alien versus Empire. I said that one too. So that's 4
That
so
just sounds
far.
like the general plot of Star
That
Wars.
one got
I
snuck
know.
in.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Sandals with socks, which I don't know if anybody mentioned.
hear that.
But I did.
I didn't
say
hear
that.
I heard that, and I thought it was weird, but I was like, it's just him.
you called me
there
on
you go.
Chicken Head and you didn't call sandals with
And then
socks.
theater geeks, which I also said theater geeks.
When did you say theater geeks?
I said only
put it in
theater
there.
geeks would understand this. Remember?
Which is not.
Bullshit.
Really sneaking it in. You're supposed to make it a topic.
Actually, I just snug it in. Only theater.
I don't
geeks
know.
would
I'm going to give you a
understand
point for that
I let
one.
it slide because I'm a theater
I'll
geek, and I was like, yeah, I do know that.
I said it.
Close, I'll have to give you the
this.
point.
If I say it, nobody calls me on it. Why shouldn't I get the point? That's all I'm saying.
Is it okay if I
It's
mention?
supposed to become a part of a topic.
All right.
But
all
okay.
right. You don't have to count it.
Is it okay if I mention mine next? Because I wanted to clarify.
Go
a
ahead,
couple
Sammy.
things. First of all, I'm pretty sure I got 3. I mentioned incessant screaming. That's
I
just
heard
what
that.
it's called. Hair plugs, because I was mentioning that they're
Hair plugs was
hairless.
very
Hair
prominent.
plugs. And navigating hyperspace, because I mentioned they become spacefaring, they navigate through hyperspace, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I
Wait, I had one in there
Kinda.
that just says hyperspace on it?
navigating hyperspace.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure if I said navigating specifically. I might have phrased it differently, but I said hyperspace and I said like navigating, kind of like in their own things.
And?
One thing I kind of said, I mentioned that they kind of become monks, but the actual card was Benedictine monks.
Now you don't get the point.
Yeah.
What the hell is Benedictine monks?
There is
No,
specific
It's like
kind
a
of
Catholic
monks.
thing, right?
Yeah, it's a Benedict.
They moved to Earth and become Benedict
Cumberbatch.
What you got, Mackenzie?
I got the tentacle nostrils.
Ooh.
Hot nugget.
I helped you
Hot
with that.
nugget.
God
Hot
damn
nugget.
it. I should have called
Well,
that.
I didn't
That
get.
was obvious, man.
I know, I thought everyone was gonna go.
Nuggets, come on.
But if you, I did build on it.
Yeah.
Like I laid the
Right.
grounding for it. You already knew what it was, so I feel like it was slightly, it was not good.
It was good.
I said chicken head, but
But I
Jean
called
called
him
me
out.
on it.
I called her out.
I was giving you that.
Yeah,
children.
thank you.
Yeah. I'm on my poet.
Womp rat feces
Oh, that's a good one.
and tie dye fighters.
Ah.
Oh my god, I should have said
I
that
thought
too.
someone else mentioned tie dye, and then you.
No, I used it.
Oddly
Everybody
enough,
No, I
chimed
mean like
in on
someone
that.
like mentioned tie dye, and that's like, wow, that's a miracle.
oddly enough, the fact that they're all Star Wars related kind of makes it more difficult because it's like, oh, they're just Star Wars related.
Dean, what you got?
Well, I got banana slug Jedi,
Nice.
Nice.
Oh my god.
buttons for eyes,
Oh, son of a bitch.
shark fins. When I was talking about the
Oh, that was-
gun.
Oh, that was sneaky.
And I mentioned gills.
Yes, you did. I heard.
Yeah, when we were talking about
Yeah.
aquatic
Yeah.
things.
Being able to
and then I
the-
called Mackenzie on the chicken head.
He gets
We
a
already
point for
told you
that.
that. We already,
Right.
we
Yeah,
already
I know,
said
but
that,
I'm
though.
counting
We
up my
already said
points.
that. We
I'm
already
counting
said
up my
that.
points, Mackenzie.
Jeez.
I got 2 bluff points. I
Damn
don't
it.
remember what they were, but something I said.
This is
Somebody
why
said,
I
"That's on your list." It's like, no, it's not. I got a bluff
This is
point.
what I get for trying to be like inquisitive of Daniel.
Yeah.
Man.
Daniel's
This is
brain
what
is
happens.
always.
He always just comes up
Yeah.
with random shit.
I get an extra bluff point. My big one, in my opinion. You can tell me if it is or not.
It is.
One of mine.
Not.
Okay, now I said it at the end of my idea for a species was the best Christmas gift. Right? That's my card. It was the best
Alright.
Christmas gift. And I did not think of that whole stupid stuffed animal species
That threw
earlier
me
this
off.
week. I made that up just so I could get to the point where I said best Christmas gift ever.
Nice.
Then I brought up lounge singers
Is this a crime?
and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh shit.
I thought somebody would have got that one. Harlem
I thought-
Globetrotters, man.
I actually thought you were
I didn't
talking
hear
about
you.
this. I thought you were talking about the Futurama thing where they create the
Okay,
aliens.
so-
to
I thought
you were talking
fight
about
the
Space
Globetrotters.
Jam.
So who wins?
Least amount of points was Sam with 3. Then we had a tie for second between Dean and Mackenzie with 4 points each. Then you could call it a tie between me and Rod with 5 points each, but I'm going to give him the point for
You're so humble.
Yay!
I thought you were gonna give yourself the point, but
Rod
I'm gonna
wins
give
again.
myself the point.
Rod wins again.
Yay, Ron.
No, I'm not allowed to win, but if I do win, it's got to be all bluff points. If I get like 8 bluffs on you guys, then it's like, yeah, I'm the man.
I need to do our bluff point.
So that's another episode of The List. This was episode number 6, brought to you by...
Stanko Vision.
Thank you very much. Next week, it's going to have something to do with camping.
Okay.
Going out in the woods, folks.
Let's all go camping, guys.
See you then.
Nature special.
The List game is listener supported. Join the List game community at www.patreon.com/listgame. To contact the List game crew, email listgame@cox.net. COX. Keep your cosmos clean.